Hey, this is Kamori, and today we're going to be making Liliana's chain veil. So I started by cutting out a pattern out of some tissue paper. And since this isn't going to be a fabric project, the pattern isn't going to be used to cut out material. Instead, it's going to be used more of as a guideline to make sure all of the chain pieces are the right size and shape. So for this project, I hesitate to call it real chainmail because this is my first time doing any sort of link type jewelry that's very intensive. I'm not quite sure how to phrase that. So basically what I did was I just ordered a bunch of 7mm jump rings from Amazon and then a bunch of 4mm jump rings, and then just use them to create a chain. And we're just going to keep doing this over and over again until we get a rectangle chain for the middle of the veil that'll go across like that.
Now, Liliana's chain veil, because of all of the little tiny rings, it doesn't really show up very well on camera. So that means we're back to the good old-fashioned whiteboard to show the basic design for what I used to create the end shape of the chain veil. So I already mentioned earlier about making a rectangle to be the base center of the veil. Now we're going to make another rectangle shown in green, and this is going to be the arch over the eyes. Now this piece is actually constructed out of a rectangle, but because of gravity, it's going to sink downward with the weight of the rest of the veil to make the eye holes. Then there is a little bit of a spacer where the bridge of the nose would be, and this is made not quite out of a rectangle, so it is slightly larger at the top and slightly smaller at the bottom. For the loops that go around the belt, I have 3 more rectangles made out of the chain, the 2 on either side being slightly smaller than the one in the middle. Or instead of smaller, I should say narrower than the one in the middle. Then, for the dangling pieces at the bottom of the veil, I made 5 triangles by starting at the top with a wider length of chain and then gradually getting smaller and smaller until the last tip is made out of only 1 ring. So now these pieces are going to be connected together using the smaller jump rings. So connect together at each of the seams, so where the belt loops attach. Then the green part will attach for about 4 rings on either side to the blue part. The black part will be attached to the center of the green and the center of the blue, and then the triangles will be connected along the bottom of the blue portion. Once all of those pieces have been connected, the end result will look like this. Now it's time to add a little bit more decoration to the veil. We'll start by adding the little skulls to the end of the points at the bottom of the veil. So to make these, I made them in a charm similar to how I've made the charms for most of my other jewelry tutorials. So we start by taking a gold-colored head pin, and then I have these skull beads that I got from Joann's. Now, the hole at the bottom of the bead was a little bit too large for my liking, and I was a little concerned about the bead actually sliding off the end of the head pin. So to fix this, I just took a purple bead, the same beads that I used for elsewhere on the costume, and then slide that onto the head pin, and then slide the skull on top of that so that it wouldn't slide off. After the purple bead and the skull bead have been slid onto the head pin, then take the remaining wire and bend it around in a loop. The last little bit that's sticking off at the end can be trimmed away with a pair of wire cutters, and then you have your charm. Since the ends of the triangles are formed using 1 jump ring, it's very easy to open the jump ring up and just slide the charm onto it, close the jump ring, and keep going until you have a skull on each triangle. There is an additional length of chain that goes across the cheek area of the veil and connects close to where the bridge of the nose would be. To create this, we're making a charm similar to what we did for the skulls, except we're going to be using an eye pin, so instead of having a flat part on the end, it has a ring. So we're going to take a kind of honey-colored crystal bead and then make a charm, but it will have a loop on either end. That way we can attach some chain. So it'll go using a jump ring. We'll have a jump ring, the chain to the beaded charm, then another loop of chain, and then connect with a jump ring to the other side. Now it's time to add the closures to the top of the veil so that it can be wrapped around the belt. On each of the rectangles at the top, I narrowed them down so that it was one jump ring at the tip of each to make connecting everything easier. Then I added a smaller bit of chain, another jump ring, and then a spring ring clasp. This way, the veil can be wrapped around the belt, and then the clasp can attach to any one of the jump rings so that it can vary in size. And with that, Liliana's chain veil is done. For more cosplay tutorials, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching!